Let's talk about how these things really work. So, the nicotinic acetylcholine receptor is all throughout the body, and we're going to go over a list and some symptoms that are associated with that location's receptor. And it binds to the receptor because acetylcholine has been depleted because of illness, toxins, trauma, inflammation, etc. So, it's actually not the most appropriate binding agent for that receptor. Acetylcholine is. But when we are sick and we become depleted, that receptor site gets bogged down and it becomes dysfunctional because it's not being used. And then when we are overcome with toxins and illnesses and viruses, etc., it's charged, so it has an affinity to it, and those toxins are just mildly attracted to it. The affinity for nicotine is a lot higher, so when we introduce nicotine, those toxins are knocked off because this just has a higher binding likeness. This is why I stress detox and drainage. And now we're going to get into the why the nervous system regulation is what's going to heal. So here is two of the locations that we are going to find the nicotinic acetylcholine receptor in the brain and the nervous system, specifically in the vagus nerve. So if you have like brain fog, you all of a sudden can't remember things like you used to, anxiety is going to be a big one. So is the executive dysfunction. But where the sleep data trackers come into play, I think, is critical when you are patching, because you're able to track your healing status with REM sleep and your heart rate variability. We all know the importance of the great wandering nerve. Wanders throughout the whole body, having an impact on basically everything in one way, shape, or another. But with regard to patching, we're specifically talking about that singular receptor. This poor stress tolerance is a big one. Again, here we have anxiety, and then we get into the dysautonomia issues. And here's the heart rate variability that I was mentioning before. Low heart rate variability means low vagal tone. High heart rate variability equals high vagal tone. The longer you can have REM sleep, that means there's restoration and repair happening. If you take the time to replenish what was depleted, you will see the difference immediately in your data. I know there's a demographic of people that like to say the immune system is in control. It's not, the nervous system is, but that's okay. I'm not going to get into the nuances of that, but your nicotinic acetylcholine receptor is on your immune cells. So what we need to understand is that our autoimmunity is impacted here. And so for my histamine and mast cell girlies, you should probably try to patch. They're in the gut too. They're in our muscles. Like, all of the major impairments that the majority of us face are associated with this receptor. Like, the list goes on and on and on. It's a big game player. It's a huge game player. We have to pay attention to this. This is something that cannot be dismissed or denied. But the thing is this doesn't do any healing. All it's doing is clearing the receptor of the junk. So the junk is still in the body. Those toxins are still in the body. They need ushered out and eliminated. So you've got to focus on drainage and you've got to focus on detoxification. Okay, then what? We've got this signal, this appropriate binding. I say appropriate binding. Acetylcholine is the appropriate ligand. This will work while we heal and are able to regenerate and resynthesize our own acetylcholine so that we can experience something. We have the acetylcholine, we can get that signal to for our immune system to work, for our digestion to work, for our nervous system to work, for our muscles to work. Do you see how it's all not the patch? It is about the healing that comes from our own additional work. All of that stuff that has been depleted while we were sick has to get replenished. You cannot rely on this because no, you're honestly, if you do, you are doing additional damage. You are not doing yourself any favors. In fact, I would go as far as to say is you're doing the nervous system extra stress and extra dysfunction, and I don't want to say cheating yourself, but you're not treating yourself very well. You're telling yourself it's safe to heal, but not doing the healing. And so you're putting this health mask on as if that's going to work, and it's not. I forgot perimenopause. Sorry. So the majority of the perimenopause symptoms that people in my age group tend to feel are from autonomic system dysregulation. Those hot flashes, the heart palpitations, the night sweats, the anxiety, the weight gain. And you can reference back to that list. It makes sense. Those receptors are all involved in that. So when you clear off the receptor, temporarily bind it with nicotine, and then work on the replenishment and the restoration, the repair and restoration with raw materials so that you can create and synthesize your own acetylcholine, then those symptoms go away. But if you don't take that replenishment and that repair and restoration seriously, like a lot of people do, and they only patch, then the impact is temporary. As soon as you take this off, you're gonna feel bad. And a lot of people have to continue to go up in dose because this only works so much for so long. When you're relying on it as a crutch instead of taking what the body needs and replenishing it and healing it so that it can in turn take care of you again like it did before you got sick in the first place. If you want the ebook, it's only $10. It's linked. Let me know if you have any questions. I try to share all the information that's in the ebook and the videos. It's just that it's obviously written down. It's a lot more concise and direct. You don't have to listen to it. You can go at your own pace and just read it and absorb as you can. I also go through detox and drainage and nervous system regulation. If you want more information on nervous system regulation, I have another ebook that goes in a lot of depth with the nervous system there. That one is definitely not something that I can just come on here and do a couple of videos and get that across. There's a lot of steps that have to do with nervous system regulation. But I do talk in the ebook enough to get you started. If you want to go more in depth, by all means get the second ebook. But I talk about herbs, specific herbs, milky oat tops, nettles, skullcap, tulsi, oat straw, that are all extremely nourishing to get the nervous system the minerals that it needs to be able to function. And talk about electrolytes and basic nourishment with like a freeze-dried microgreen superfood microgreen blend. So I do present it. It's just that if you are one of those people like me that need a lot more information, that is available too.